everyone. Great to see you all today. Happy Wednesday. I'm Andrea Restrepo, so National Sales Manager here at GovSpend. And with me, I have two of our webinar sponsors. We've got Stephen Bryan. He is Dean of GSU. And then also Jack Siney. He is co-founder of GovSpend and also creator of GSU.
Yo, yo, yo.
So before we get started, I wanted to go through just a couple housekeeping items today. So what we're going to go ahead and do is at the end of today's webinar, we'll go ahead and email out the replay. That way, if you want to share it with your friends or watch it a little bit later, you'll have the ability to do that. As far as questions, we will definitely get through all your questions. But in the meantime, go ahead and throughout the webinar, just post them in the chat section, and then we'll go ahead and answer them at the very end. And then lastly, if you can't stay till the end, you'll want to read the special offer that we'll go ahead and email out a little bit later today. So without further ado, Jack Stein, you want to take it away?
Nope, I want Steve to win some money.
I was going to say, I want to take it away. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are super excited to be here. It's our 1-year anniversary. So I just want to say it. We've been doing webinars once a month for the past 12 months. It's really exciting. And thanks for everyone that joins us. We are here to help you win government business. And we also like to give away some free things. So let's kick it off with the Amazon gift card. We're giving away one now. It's going to be $50. And we're also
I thought it was $10,000. I thought it was a $10,000 gift card today.
Ooh. So you checked the marketing emails, Jack. Oh, that's great. So we are going to be giving away a second Amazon gift card at the end.
For $10,000?
Not an Amazon gift card, but we're giving away something at $10,000 in value. So I'm super excited, but that's going to be at the end. So for right now, I want, everybody in the chat, I see everybody put in where they're from and their names, but we're going to put in the word free. Type in the word free because it's free resources today. Type in the word free and we're going to pick the winner randomly. So everybody, if you put in the chat the word free, we're going to pick a random winner here. And Astrid, I am picking you. You were the first one. Early bird gets the worm. So Astrid Saeed, congratulations. You are the winner of a $50 gift card. Now I'm going to toss it over to the man, Jack Siney, the Michael Jordan of government sales.
So we got we got time. Look, find that $10,000 gift card. Then we'll have attendance through the roof. Hey, so we're going to talk about a bunch of resources today to help you sell to the government. And so, I think selling to the government gets a bad rap, right? I think we all know sometimes folks are like, no, too much time, very slow. They just want the cheapest thing. And so a lot of those misperceptions or misconceptions are not true, or they are misconceptions. And a lot of those perceptions are not true. But listen, one of the nice parts about selling to the government, there's a ton of information. You almost feel like, in the Wizard of Oz, when you're going behind a little screen and you get to see some things in the private world you never get to see. You could see, hey, who is an agency working with today? How much did they pay last time? Those kind of things, which aren't available, again, in the private industry. So today we're going to go through a whole series of resources and items to help you sell to the government, because actually the data sources and some of the things we're going to share today could make it actually quicker and faster, more efficient, and believe it or not, more profitable for you to go sell to the government. So here are the 5 categories of things we're going to review today. So we're going to break them down. We're going to show you some technology and some information solutions. We're going to talk about all of the organizations and associations that are kind of in the gov sales world. There's a ton of them. Number 3 are sales support vendors. So there's a lot of vendors that all they do is focus on trying to help you win government business. And so a lot of them in the DC area will help you get on GSA schedule or do a bid and RFP. So we'll talk about some of those folks. Trade shows. There literally is a government trade show every single day, probably throughout the year. So we want to talk about that and which ones maybe you should go to. And then there's a whole bunch of websites, both the government puts out and some other support sites. And so we want to share all of these today with you to give you some concrete materials to help you sell to the government, be more efficient, and win more business. So Steve, Dre, did I forget any of those? Is all the loose ends good?
I think so. If not, we'll tie them up throughout.
All right, good. And so I will toss it over them. But the one thing, listen, before we start going through them, there's just one dynamic I just want to talk about super, super quick. And so a lot of times there's just counterintuitive way to go to sell. And so those folks that are around me a lot know that when you do it 180 degrees different than everyone else, you stand out. And in the government sales world, there's this thing about being proactive or being reactive, right? And one of the things that happens in the gov world, folks feel like, hey, if I sign up, just say for a bid notification system, I'm really being proactive. I bought a new technology. And then what they do is they sit around and they wait for the agency to email them every day or every week with stuff. And they just sit there and wait. And so just want to relay to you, the goal of today's webinar is really to give you things to be proactive. How can you go pursue business? How do you build relationships? How do you go make it happen and not reactive? Because a lot of times folks feel like, oh, I went and bought this thing. Oh, I did this. And I'm going to sit here and wait till they ping me. I'm going to wait till they email me. And it's not good, right? It's really not good. And it can give you that false illusion like you're doing big things or you're really working hard in the industry. And it's just not true. So I want to talk about things to make you proactive, be proactive so you can go chase the business, win things that maybe other folks aren't aware of. And so really, really that dynamic, we try to, Dre and what she does every day and Stephen, what they do each day is really trying to share that perspective with folks. And so just want you to remember that as we go through the resources, what are things that'll help you and your company be proactive and not just reactive? Amen. So
yeah, I want to jump into that, Jack, because
that
hits to my heart as well. And if you knew that 80% of the business was won proactively, wouldn't you want to be proactive? So we're going to hook you up today. We got the sites, the organizations, and we'll get more into details.
Yeah, I think Steve said 80% of government spending doesn't go through a bid and RFP. So that number sometimes shocks people. Literally 80% government spending does not go through a bid and RFP. And so we want to show you ways to proactively go after that 80%, which is less competitive. You win faster. Amen. So without further ado, I think I'm going to throw this over to Dre for our first set of solutions, the technology solutions.
Perfect. So the first thing we're going to go over are technology solutions. So when we talk about the first one, right, so that's going to be your bid notifications. That's what we're talking about a little bit now, right? Companies who just wait for bids to send them, or I'm sorry, that wait for agencies to send them open bids. Very, very reactive process, right? So just to kind of go into that a little bit further, what this is these solutions, they have found a way to aggregate bids and RFPs that are posted on thousands and thousands of websites. So sometimes agencies use their own website to post solicitations. Sometimes they're using third-party sites, but there are hundreds, if not thousands of companies out there that provide these bid and RFP solicitations. They really range in terms of prices. So they could be anywhere from free, like there's some free sites out there. And then some of them are costing 25, 30 grand plus a year. Some of the leading providers today, some of you may know, some of you may not, but there is Deltec, GovSpend, which is who we are. So one piece of our platform focuses on showing you upcoming bids and RFPs as well. And then you've got sam.gov, and that's going to be the free federal solution that's out there. So it shows you all the federal bids that have been posted.
I'd love to just chime in really quick. In this world, the analogy I always use for folks, there are hundreds of bid notification solutions. And it's just like when you go buy a car, there's literally low end ones that you don't get much with. And there's super high ones like a Lamborghini, like the Deltec one, you can literally pay, 25K plus per year. So in this world, you kind of get what you pay for. And so wide range. And so those of you never bought a bid notification solution, you can certainly reach out to our team and we'll help you kind of sift through them in a very neutral way to be like, hey, what are the ones that are out there and how do they work?
Thank you. So bid notifications, that's going to be a way to really reactively work on these opportunities, reactively work with these agencies. If you want to be more proactive, then you should look at purchasing some kind of data solution. So this is really just showing you agencies' purchases, really getting an idea of who's buying the types of items that your company sells today. So some of the leading providers, us. So we can talk about that a little bit further in the presentation, but we have the ability to show you line item detail of everything that the government has purchased. So if you sell widgets, you can type in widgets or iPads and really know who are the top buyers. And so this is really allowing for you to be more proactive in the market. Instead of waiting for a bid to come out, you want to have your team proactively call on the people who have historically been buying what you sell. And so aside from us, so there's also sam.gov. So that's what we mentioned in terms of the bids as well. They also provide a free solution for some of this historical data, but solely on the federal side. And then the last piece to technology solutions is going to be information solutions. So companies like Bloomberg, like CGIS, USA Spending, they also provide some of that information.
Yeah, I guess one other thing I'd want to add, there are literally a ton of different technology solution providers. And I think at the end, we're going to talk about, we're going to provide some of those and the different categories, but there is a ton of data out there about the government, where they're going. And one of the things can be, we just went through it, a change of administration where the priorities for the government can change dramatically, can have a huge impact on where the government's spending money, where the money is, how your solution might fit into the plans of the government. And so, there's a lot of vendors out there that will help direct you to where the big pots of money are as the government priorities change between administrations or year over year. So.
All right, Stevie B, you want to keep going?
Yeah, so I have number 2 here, and this is something that's really important as we talk about being proactive. It's engaging with organizations and associations. It's like, let's just think about it this way. Instead of working like one-on-one, like agency to agency, you're working with these groups that have multiple agencies. One of those, just we have a huge list, which we'll be giving away, but just to throw some out there, like NIGP. I always talk about it, just saying. So they are involved with all aspects of what these cities, counties buy. It's where the money's held, right? So you would want to be in front of these people, even though they're not the end user, they're going to be involved with that decision-making process. There's also organizations out there that will help you get set up. PTAC, for instance, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And you could do NASPO, right? National Association of State Procurement Officials. NAEP, if you're trying to target education. Right now, if you target us, 2 webinars ago, we talked about the $186 billion in the American Rescue Plan that's been awarded to K through 12 schools. NAEP, the National Association of Education Procurement, sometimes they're tongue twisters out there, can help you out. IMCA, right? International City County Manager. So there's all these organizations. There's a list I see on Jack's screen here, and we'll be able to provide you. But no matter what you do, I don't care if it's products or services. If you're selling to cities, counties, schools, there's someone out there that buys it. You just want to be a part of that network. And those relationships are going to go huge, because once one agency within that organization loves it, you can have another 50 or 100 that follow suit. So that's why it's really important to get in with these organizations and help save a lot of time developing these relationships. And remember, right, Jack put it up there, agencies are risk adverse. So they want to hear from their peers. So once you're in these organizations, they all talk, there's little chat rooms, message boards. So it's going to spread like wildfire. So once you get in there, you got to be on your A game, right? It's your reputation on the line. And once you do good things, that's going to spread and open up a huge book of business for you. So that covers organizations. Again, we have everything that Jack was showing you on that. We'll give away. And Jack, I want to toss it over for number 3, unless you got another bullet to add to this one.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So number 3 are the sales support vendors. So what's really interesting in the government world is that there's a lot of folks that either started their career or spent their career, now retired, that work for the government. And typically what they do is they leave their government function, and they'll really start their own company to help companies do business with the government. They were on the government side for a lot of years, and they'll come out in the market and they'll say, hey, well, I'll help you get on GSA's schedule. I'll help you write proposals that are actually really compelling. I'll tell you on the inside kind of what the agencies are looking for, or how to do marketing or contract support, or help your strategy or do training. And so there's a whole set of vendors out there. I want to show you this list. And so these are companies that'll help you win government business. And so those of you who follow the show, Amtower and Company, Mark Amtower has been on the show a couple of times, help you do marketing toward the government. There's a whole bunch of strategy organizations like Bid Designs. There's, let me see, come down here. I want to talk about, there's a few that are really, like Govology will help you do training. Carol Bernard and his team, they'll help you do training on how to sell to the government. Stephen, we'll talk about, I'll give you a chance to talk about GSU. Look, Steve, obviously Gov Sales University offers a ton of training out there and how to do business with the government, all the nuances. Co-Prince Law, if you're doing contracts, they've been on the show as well. If you have some contractual questions, how does that work? Periscope Holdings, big organization that helps companies do business with the government, how they win deals. And then Winvale, there's Shipley Associates that help you with strategy. So there's a ton of organizations that'll help you do strategy, insight, analytics, work through contracts. If you need to buy IT, the MX Group. I mean, there's a bunch of vendors out there that'll help you win government sales. So you don't have to do it on your own, because parts of it can be complex, right? If you're just trying to get on GSA schedule, that can be so demanding, because it is like doing a tax return, right? They're doing all the paperwork. How can you get on GSA schedule? How does that work? Or the one that folks talk about all the time, like writing a proposal. There's a bunch of those companies that'll help you like put together your proposal, how to make it compelling, your capability statement, all those things that the government wants to hear on their side, so that you have a higher probability of winning one of those efforts. So again, a whole set of vendors out there that'll help you win government business, so you don't have to go it alone. And especially some of you smaller companies that only have 2 or 3 folks, and you're like, oh, I can't do it all. There's a lot of folks out there that'll help you get through and win business with the government. And again, we'll get you that information, that full list here at the end. Cool? Good?
Perfect.
Number 4, I think that's over to Dre.
Yes. So another resource is going to be a government trade show. So really, these are related trade shows. They're solely focused on the government. And so really what we would need to figure out, though, is going to be what one is the best for your company. There's a ton of types of trade shows out there for all different industries. Some are huge, where there are multiple floors and there's thousands of vendors. Some are a little bit smaller, but they're really all over the country. And the nice thing is initially a lot of these have been paused, right, because of COVID, but a lot of shows are out there today. So it's definitely a really great opportunity to get that base time to help find these new opportunities. So what we can do is let's click on this list of government trade shows. And then Jack, can you show us, go sort by start date? And let's look at Z to A. We can look at all the ones that are still happening. So even line like 17, right? September 27th, we've got this technology conference coming up. We've got IST West. I've been to IST East before, but West is out in Vegas. So there's still at least more than 10 shows, even just on this list, that are still throughout the year. And so it's just a really great time. We've got all the different links to the website, but that way you can kind of check it out. But it's a really good time to get FaceTime, try to meet new agencies, really be able to bring your products if you have any kind of trials, but just help create these relationships and get your foot in the door in that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, I know Dre's talking about the current ones, but this list has all the previous ones too. So we'll go through updated each year. There's literally a show like every single week, as you could see. And so we will give this to you virtually. So you can even the ones that go virtual, they still typically have a show, but there's literally like a show every week you could go to in the Gov world, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that also ties into the organizations. A lot of the organizations I mentioned also host shows. One of the most impactful shows that I've been to was a reverse trade show. It's hosted by NAGP. So there's local chapters all throughout. And it's actually the agencies are sitting at the booth. So instead of vendors, how you normally like set up your banners and everything, it's the cities, counties, they're there. So they got nowhere to go. You have them trapped, so you can at least get, a couple minutes of FaceTime. I don't mean trapped in like a weird way. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but just have like at least that hello, handshake, face to a name. And you have that. So when you do follow up with your phone call or email, oh yeah, I remember meeting you at that show. One thing a guy did that worked with us, his name was Scott Powell, real tall guy. He went to a trade show and he had a lighted tie that was blinking. And he's like, hey, you remember me? I was the guy with the lighted tie. And of course, like who's going to forget that? So do something that stand out, maybe cool business cards, so you are memorable when you go to those functions.
Yeah, I think one last note about the trade shows, and then Steve, I'll turn it over to you for number 5, is there's so many trade shows. The one thing I would just say for folks is you want to go to the shows that allow you to present. It's a huge, huge, huge advantage to be able to go and you look like the industry expert. When you're able to present during a 2 or 3 day show, it's huge opportunity, because then they actually promote you, they promote your company. And so great opportunity to try to get, hey, not as a sell piece. A lot of folks get the opportunity to present at a show and they make it all about their company and they're like, it's a sell piece. And literally the organizers of the show hate it. It's really a chance to educate the market. How do you make yourself an industry expert? And so try to find ways where you can present material relevant to the attendees and get on the ability to present at a show is a huge, huge, huge little insider advantage. Good?
Yeah, great point, Jack. And Thomas agrees with you as well. He says, great advice.
Yes.
As far as government websites go, we talk about, paid sources earlier, and there's also free resources, and you should definitely take advantage of these. If you have not registered, sam.gov, is one website you can go on, and it has all the federal information. As you can see here, you might be like, well, I've never worked with federal, so you have to understand the lingo. So you can see there for FAR, which is all the acquisition. So we have links that'll actually break down. It's really like a catalog where you'll have it like a digital asset instead of going through like a whole telephone book. You'd be like, oh, I need to go to this chapter, and you can bring up those documents. So you actually know what you're reading when you're dealing with the federal. There's also state procurement websites. So every state has one. It's important, first start in your home state. I think everybody gets blind and they're like chasing this deal and chasing that deal. You want to start in your own backyard, your own state. So make sure you have a solid foundation there before you go expand. I just give that word of advice because people are like a dog seeing a squirrel. They're like, oh, there's a deal here. There's a deal there. There's a deal there. So they're looking left and right. And then also, hey, I know Robert's here from PTAC. We have it on our slide here, not knowing that you'd be attending, but PTAC offices, they're across the entire United States. And for those that don't know, now you know. So you can come and go to the PTAC offices, and they'll definitely help you out, and we'll provide those. But there's more information, right? Subscribe to these newsletters out there. When it comes down to, like, let's just say State Scoop, it's all state agency information. Fed Scoop is Fed agency. Ed Scoop is educational industry information. GovLoop, GovTech, technology. There's so many out there, and you want to have these in your inbox because you're going to read a header. It's going to catch your attention. Like, ooh, I could do that. So you're going to call that agency and talk about a relevant topic. So just saying, hi, I'm Steve, and I do this. It's like, hey, I saw that within your city, you're experiencing your bridges falling apart. I don't know. And I do construction. So I'm going to be there to help you out and rebuild the infrastructure. So subscribe to these newsletters, check your inbox every morning, because the more you can talk about what's relevant with that agency, the more they're going to listen to you. That's my advice.
Well, that's great advice, Steve. Yes, here's the whole list of websites, or some of the websites that are out there. All those, again, ton of data. Love the PTAC offices. They're a great resource. And I think, as you mentioned, I just wanted to hammer home, lot of data and a lot of resources. Unlike, again, selling to the private market, the ability to go out and get some things, so you don't have to do it the hard way, right? So that's what I encourage you to do, is take advantage of ones. And so one of the things we can actually help you with immensely is, hey, there's actually too much, right? Having too much information and too many resources can be as deadly as having none, because you could spin your wheels. You'd be like, oh my gosh, I've spent hours and hours and hours researching, and I've still not won anything. So we want to give you a couple things to help you go through the muck and mire. Our number one thing, the number one resources we know, love, appreciate, and want you to start with is GovSales University by our man, Stevie B. Stevie B, tell the folks why they would start with GSU.
No, I appreciate, it's GovSales University. We are the sponsor of this event, and our whole job is to help people take that first step, or maybe the 10th step in their journey, just to win more government business. Jack said, there's a lot of information online. You can go on YouTube, and it's going to be drinking from a fire hose. You're going to get this message, that message. So what we've created here is a step-by-step playbook. So you know exactly what you need to do as far as building the foundation of your business, selling your business, marketing your business, growing, validation, because all these steps are important, but it's also a sequential order of how you go about that. So we include a great resource that you can go along with our videos that's going to teach you. We put 25 years of experience. That's the man below me, Mr. Jack Siney, 25 years of experience into an 8-hour course. I talk about the matrix all the time. Imagine if you could just get plugged into the matrix and learn a skill. This is going to help you win your first government deal, or be better at winning government business. Because listen, everybody's out there, they know they're the largest purchaser in the world, but it's like, how do you get that share? So we help you through that. We also provide you with opportunities. I say the education piece is teaching you to fish. So you can go out and do this on your own. Instead of spending $10,000, $20,000 for a consultant, spend $249. Get the education. You'll have that for the rest of your life. Amen. Right? No matter what you do, you can apply that to your job. I promise you that. So if you're in a business and 10 years from now, contact me on LinkedIn. I will find a way that you can sell to the government, because I've done it all for every industry. But then once we teach you to fish, we also show you the fish. Imagine you taking that honey hole, that pond down near the oak tree where all the fish are swimming around. That's what we have in our system. So once you get the education, we also show you the bids and RFPs. So these are open opportunities, people that buy what you sell. And then we also archive the expired ones so you can find the contacts. You'll have the names, phone numbers, emails of who's bought what you sell in the past, all in one spot for $249. Plus, we also do Facebook meetings. So you have your coaching seminar. We help each other, right? This is a community. So if you're facing a challenge, maybe someone else has been through that before, I'm the moderator. We get together every Wednesday. You'll have that as well. So Gov Sales University, what does it say? $9,500 in value. You put the price on all that I just mentioned. But I'm telling you, for $249, no long-term contracts or commitment, you'll have full access to Gov Sales University.
Man, I think that's it. So those were all of your giveaway. There it is. Dre, you taking us out?